With faith in each other and joy in our hearts, let's send Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to the White House.
Joy in our hearts. You know, whenever I think of Hillary Clinton, you know what I always think? Joy in our hearts. That or a pointed metal pike in our hearts. One or the other. This whole joy thing is a theme that the Democrats have rolled out. And it's more than a little peculiar, the way that they've been using it. I just Googled Hillary Clinton joy, and the first thing comes up is her speech from last night. She's wearing kind of a tan suit, too. I don't know why she didn't get a New York Times article out of it. I guess they're not pumping her up, are they? It's Bill Clinton's birthday yesterday. What do you think they did? When he had to have something going on. Remarkable stuff, but they got this whole joy thing going on, the Democrats, and the word joy, it's more than a little odd, the way they've rolled it out, and their media front men and even their front women are front men, aren't they? Because they all have the gender-neutral bathrooms and all that stuff. But the Democrat Party has started this whole joy crusade, and it couldn't be more misplaced. They're the most joyless group of people you're going to find anywhere on the planet. But we actually had I think that we used this on the Right Squad, on my show on Newsmax, a montage, a compilation of Democrats and media, but I repeat myself, declaring that joy, the word joy, is the order of the day. And wait till you hear what this traces back to.
And yesterday, what you saw is joy.
And it was the power of joy.
You know what I love more than anything? The joy.
The joy.
Don't underestimate the power of joy in this campaign. Don't underestimate the joy factor of this. They're going to bring the joy.
People were also just feeling relieved and telling me about how happy they were to see some joy back in the party.
And
joy.
we saw last night was this joy and this positivity.
It's joy.
This happy, joyful, positive ticket.
It's happy and joyful.
Demonstration of support, enthusiasm, joy.
Joy. That's all about the joy, isn't it? Well, I tell you what, I was going back and forth with my friend Scott Hoganson in Texas, and Scott is a journalist and an author and a father of a really great little girl, and they come along on sea cruises too, Scott Hoganson, and we're going back and forth, and Scott said, you know, this joy thing, this whole joy thing is not completely out of the blue that the Democrats have adopted. It's kind of odd. But if you go to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, right, the United States Holocaust Memorial, they have a lot of history available on their website having to do with, as you might imagine, the Holocaust and Nazi Germany, who gave us the Holocaust, the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler. And on the perspectives.ushmm, United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, and experiencing history, Holocaust sources in context, and the public health under the Third Reich, that is the Socialist Workers' Party of Adolf Hitler, and also everyday encounters with fascism and Nazi propaganda and national unity. See, national unity. The Democrats, they like to learn from the masters, and their boy Joseph Goebbels, you know, he might be channeling Gurgle. Could be channeling Gurgle, as the Reverend Al Charlatan likes to say. But the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum has a section and an item here in this section on a photograph of a young man in a swimsuit, 1933, and he has got a bullhorn, and he's yelling at a crowd of people on the beach, And the article from the Holocaust Museum says, after the Nazi rise to power in 1933, a new regime immediately began efforts to bring German society completely under Nazi control in a process known as, and that's the German word, Gleichschaltung, and German for coordination or synchronization. All political parties and trade unions were outlawed except the Nazi Party and the Nazi German Labor Front. Sure, naturally, as you would expect, the German Labor Front started the Strength Through Joy program. Strength Through Joy. Kraft durch Freude. And the Kraft durch Freude movement, the Strength Through Joy program, was started by the German Labor Front in November of 1933 to improve Aryan workers' quality of life, to build popular support for the Nazi regime. And the whole theme was joy and strength through joy, because Nazism is always about strength through this, strength through that. The symbol of fascism is a bundle of sticks, not to be confused with the other bundle of sticks, if you look that up in your dictionary. But a bundle of sticks bound by bands, and, one stick can be broken, but a bundle of sticks bound together is very strong, right? And that's strength in numbers. And then there's strength through joy, because it's all about strength. And they had this Kraft durch Freude and the whole movement of strength through joy. And now the Democrat Party is pushing this whole joy thing. Nazi leaders hoped that athletic and cultural programs of strength through joy would improve the health and productivity of the German workforce while easing class tensions within the so-called national community, providing organized alternatives to unstructured leisure time. And that's why the photograph of everybody at the beach, because it's strength through joy. Go to the beach. It is joyous. You will schwimmen. You go to the Schwimmenwagen and go schwimmen in the Laken and down at the beachen. And strength through joy was the big program by the Nazi Party. And now, interestingly enough, the Strength Through Joy program appears to be migrating to MSNBC and the Democrat Party.
It's filled with energy and with joy.
The air of joy and freedom is up on us.
The joy
and joy in our hearts.
Joy, hope, and joy. There's joy in this battle.
Yes, what an interesting coincidence. They should really say that there's strength through joy, because I think that's what they're saying. Just remarkable stuff. Gleichschaltung, strength through joy. Strengthens the joyance of...
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle?
Could have been Gurgle. It might have been Gurgle that was influencing him. It's impossible for me to say, but it might have been Gurgle. Let's go to the Reverend Al Charlatan for his take on this. He wants some joy out there. Hey, where's Tawana Brawley? Tawana Brawley still alive? She was so abused and by Al Sharpton and radical left-wing Democrats. That was during his anti-Semitic period in the riots in Crown Heights. How many people were killed in those Al Sharpton riots? Amazing. And then they're going on about this photograph shown in the Strength Through Joy event held on the outskirts of Berlin. April 24th, 1937, a large group of adults and children gathered at a popular public beach at Strandbad Wannsee. Just outside of Berlin, there's Wannsee. There's an estate there, it's still there, where the Nazis met to come up with the final solution at Wannsee. And I think there were 15 Nazis there. And I believe 13 of them were PhDs from universities. Got to look out for those academics. Yeah, the Wannsee Conference is where they came up with the final solution that they would kill every Jew in Europe and the world. And the Socialist Workers' Party then set about carrying that out by way of their Strength Through Joy program. And here's the guy with the bullhorn, and the Holocaust Museum keeps talking about the guy with the bullhorn. You noticed how Democrats are all over there with the bullhorns, too. Speaking of which, let's go to, you have a piece from the Chicago News. Maybe they got some of the bullhorn guys, because the bullhorn guys were tearing down the fences around the United Center in Chicago yesterday in an insurrectionist act. but they will not get 22 years in prison, will they?
The group was here for about 30 minutes. Everything was peaceful.
No
peaceful. Issues at all. But then this fencing that you're seeing right now, several panels of that fencing was torn down before you then saw a lot of people jump the fencing and then start throwing rocks that we've learned at police right now.
Then they started throwing rocks at the police right now that we've learned. The Fox reporter in Chicago, Illinois, whose name was not readily available on the news story there. But it was mostly peaceful until they tore down the fences, attacked the cops, and were hurling rocks at the cops, and there were a number of arrests. And all of that is fine. That's just fine.
It appears that these demonstrators, at least the agitators that we're showing you right now, they won't stop. They're continuing to go. Again, one guy we saw with our own eyes pull a sludge hammer out of his backpack to destroy some of the fencing here. And so Chicago police are now trying to get control of this.
Shoot him. He showed up with a backpack with a sledgehammer in it. I think that speaks to intent, does it not? I think that's insurrectionist behavior, 22 years in prison. For that, don't even talk to me about not being 22 years in prison. That's 22 years in prison. Who is it? The Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, was sentenced to 22 years in prison. And he was in a hotel room in Baltimore on January 6th. Because the fascists, they put their political enemies in jail. They don't have to do anything. It's the old Stalinist thing, show me the man and I'll show you the crime. His secret police chief, Lavrenti Beria, the famous line, show me the man. Pick anybody out of a crowd. I'll show you the crime. You're a Democrat Party. Strength through joy. And the Democrat Party, they're on a joy jag. Yes, they are. All right, let's go to... Speaking of the police being attacked and the rocks being thrown and the fences being torn down and the riders showing up with sledgehammers and their backpacks and the bullhorns and we hate the Jews and wipe out Israel from the river to the sea and all that good stuff. And then Joe Biden went on stage last night. What time did he got there at like 11:40 or something crazy. And he went on forever and ever and ever and ever. By the time he finished up, I was in bed, eyes closed, still listening, looking forward to him finishing so I could go to sleep. Because, I get up at 5 o'clock and all that stuff. And he was going on and on and on past midnight. Amazing stuff. But it's okay when you're a Democrat. The Guardian has a headline from several days ago. Democrats' joy is unconfined. It's unconfined. The joy is spreading like monkeypox. I assume there's going to be a monkeypox outbreak at the Democratic National Convention. There was an outbreak in Africa last week, and the World Health Organization warned that monkeypox was on a tear. And so with the Democrats gathering, you know how things go there. It's definitely a monkeypox super spreader event. They like to call it M-pox now because wasn't that a movie with Kevin Spacey at M-pox? It was K-Pax. Oh, that was K-Pax, not M-Pax. That was K-Pax. That was right. And he was a space alien or something like that. And then he went on to goose a bunch of boys in various public places, Kevin Spacey. And that's okay because Democrats can do that. Joe Biden can sexually assault Tara Reid, pin her against the wall while she worked for him in the Senate. And that's okay, too. All this stuff is okay when you're a Democrat. Yeah, and the Guardian, And joy, Democrats are refreshed and excited, MSNBC headline. They're refreshed and they need some refreshing. They need to clean up, scrub up real good. Get some of that shaped soap so they can get extra clean. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology. Oxy technology helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of different viruses and odors and mold and a lot more floating in the air. Thousands of 5-star reviews online for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. It works like a champ. Any smell will vanish in just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Whether you're talking about litter boxes or cigarette smoke or dirty diapers, even left-wing protesters from Chicago, The powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and help destroy odors. These molecules even go behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And this is great. You don't have to buy filters time and time again and replace them on a schedule. Put it on your calendar, mail away. Forget about all that. You can hold an Eden Pure Thunderstorm in your hand, just like this. Plug it in the wall. Works like a champ. So start enjoying your home again, your office. Get several thunderstorms because right now you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You're going to get 3 units for under $200 because you hang out with me. You can put one in your basement, your bedroom, your teenager's room, any place you like to have clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com on Al Gore's amazing internet. Use the discount code Chris3 to save $200 American. That's EdenPureDeals.com, and the discount code is Chris and the number 3. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've still got some more convention to get to, and I got some violence. There was some violence. Not as much as we usually get from the Democrats. So the media thinks it's great. They think it's entirely peaceful because it was mostly not violent.
It is said that the people are revolting.
Who said it? They stink on ice.
I just mentioned Kevin Spacey groping little boys, and which he got in some trouble with. Not a lot, because, he's a Democrat and everything. But a friend of mine, Tim, sent along something I didn't know. Kevin Spacey is refusing to vacate his $5.6 million Baltimore, Maryland condo after it was auctioned off at a foreclosure. After a foreclosure hearing, and here's a picture of it. It looks like quite an incredible place right on the water. But Kevin Spacey, and the story's from just 4 days ago, Kevin Spacey is allegedly refusing to leave his $5.6 million Baltimore condo weeks after the lavish property was sold off in a foreclosure auction. Boy, you start groping little boys, you get caught in, things, when things go bad. Let me tell you. The 65-year-old actor revealed back in June that he was being forced to sell off the 9,000 square foot home at the end of July in a bid to help cover a hefty legal fee from his 2023 sexual assault trial. So Baltimore. He was there shooting House of Cards. I didn't know he was into groping black kids. It's funny the things you learn about these Hollywood people. Get out, Kevin Spacey, get out. There was a fun photograph from outside of the DNC yesterday. Sebastian Gorka shared with me. Gorka. Showed me a fun photo. A young guy, a male, an actual male who identifies as male. You can tell from a still photo. In front of the mob of lunatics at the DNC with communist flags behind them. And he's got a big sign that he made, and it says, free vasectomies for communists. Free vasectomies for communists. You come to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, they're offering free vasectomies and free abortions for the ladies, or in some cases men, because as we know, and as Tim Walz knows, men menstruate and can become pregnant and will need abortions. And the Democrats are here to give men abortions because Democrats are mentally ill. Yeah, but Gorka shared the photo with me. Free vasectomies for communists. Pretty funny stuff. And I responded, about a century overdue. Because the communists should have been getting vasectomies. Can you imagine all the lives that could have been saved if we had just been giving communists vasectomies long ago? That would be very nice. Yeah, meine Schatzi. Speaking of Nazis and fascists and all that, we in Washington, D.C., we have a D.C. city councilman, And I love to, whenever we talk about Trayon White, I love to play his Rothschilds audio because he made a video of himself while driving in his car in Washington, D.C., and it started snowing while he was driving. So he posted a video saying that he believes that the Jews control the weather, in particular the European banking family, the Rothschild family. They control the weather. They make it snow so they can take over.
D.C. keep talking about we're a resilient city. And that's a model based off the Rothschilds controlling the climate to create natural disasters. They can pay for it and own the cities, man. Be careful.
That's right. Be very careful because the Rothschilds have a model and it's a plan and they can control the weather so they can, I don't know, buy it or something. And then they own the, I don't know what the hell he said, and neither does he. And then he was shamed into going to the Holocaust Museum where he ran away in the middle of the tour and was found outside texting friends and laughing because they hate the Jews, these people, the Democrats. They're like the Socialist Workers' Party, but they have joy. They have the joy thing going, so that's good. Now, an update for you. D.C. Council member Trayon White faces allegations of $165,000 bribery over contract renewals, because he took, now I heard yesterday in a newsroom, I heard that Trayon White has been living in a penthouse apartment in Washington, D.C. Michael, what do they pay a D.C. city councilman? What do they pay a city councilman? It's probably, it might be like $140,000 a year or something like that before taxes, of course. But he took, they say, the FBI says, $156,000 in bribes. I thought it was going to involve like drugs and hookers and things like that. But it turns out it's just old-fashioned bribery, which is kind of nice, you know. It's refreshing. Restore your faith in City Hall, that it's just the usual old-fashioned corruption. Channel 7 News, the ABC local affiliate, federal officials have lifted their silence. That's kind of a strange turn of phrase. On Sunday night's arrest of D.C. Council member Trayon White, who thinks that the Jews make it snow, who they've now accused of taking thousands in bribes to maintain contracts at several agencies. This is just the usual Democrat Party stuff. He probably didn't know it was illegal because everybody does it, you know. The complaint alleges that beginning in June of 2024, that's not very long ago, this is only August of 2024, White, who represents Ward 8 in Southeast, agreed to accept $156,000 in cash payments in exchange for using his position on the Washington, D.C. City Council, our nation's capital, to pressure government employees at the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, which they naturally abbreviate as ONSE, because you got to abbreviate everything, and the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services, naturally the DYRS, Department of Youth Rehabilitation. So why do they need to be rehabilitated? They're youth. For the renewal of several D.C. contracts. Come on, this is just the way things work. He knows it. Trayon knows it. One contract renewal was for an organization the complaint claims had its contracts terminated because it failed to effectively provide the services promised. Oh, let's not be sticklers about such things. I mean, just because they got a contract and were paid to provide services, the fact that they didn't provide the services should be, what kind of a racist standard is this, that you expect people to actually provide the services that they're paid to provide? That would be the end of everything. Don't be ridiculous. As part of this agreement, Company 1, now we're looking at government documents, you can tell, would provide case management services for chronically homeless and other highly vulnerable individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Isn't that redundant? The complaint said, in January of 2019, the Department of Homeland Security determined that the majority of the background check documents submitted by Company 1 to DHS were falsified. In other words, Company 1 was affirming its conducted background checks that it had not done. So they were faking background checks and billing the government taxpayer dollars for background checks they had not conducted and services they were not providing. Just to homeless people, though. This is what Democrats do. You know, that's not a problem. On February 25th of 2019, DHS determined that Company 1, why did it take 5 years then? Honestly, you people, it's February of 2019. It's 5 years ago. Here's our government. And meanwhile, the homeless people are still homeless, and they're not getting the taxpayer dollars and the help that we pay for because Democrat criminals run the show into the side of the mountain, and homeless people die on the streets while these guys move into $10,000 a month penthouse apartments, as Trayon White did. Isn't that amazing? So they're in default on the HCA contract, another abbreviation. As a result, terminated the agreement. White, surrounded by friends, family, and other supporters, was released on a recognizance bond. That means on his own recognizance, he doesn't have to post any bail, and ordered to surrender his passport in case he wants to go to, Belize or Morocco or something and never come back. Just amazing stuff. He and others connected to his this legal matter did not provide comment as they left the courthouse. That shows good discipline there. Finally, a little good discipline. I assume he believes that the Rothschilds are behind this. And Trayon White, in his $10,000 a month penthouse apartment, what does a city council member make?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Not enough to live. 140,000. That's what I estimated, isn't it? Yeah, 140,000. They make 140,000. So after taxes, that's not enough to pay your monthly rent. Isn't that fascinating? Gosh, Democrats, aren't they something? Yes, they are. All right, let's take a phone call, Michael. And we still have more stories and more audio to get to as well, because there's plenty of news to go around. Plenty for everyone. No shortage of news. Let's go to Ross, calling from Front Royal, Virginia. Ross, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Long-time listener, love you a lot. As I heard this story as I'm in my car, I was thinking of Mayor for Life and his famous quib on his video or his audio tape, "The beat set me up." Is that coming up for the next Mayor of Life for D.C.?
Well, I think that Trayon White, now that he's in trouble with the law, has a better chance of becoming our next mayor. But you're right. I miss Marion Barry. Don't you miss Marion Barry? Mayor for Life, Marion Barry, who I voted for multiple times. I voted for Marion Barry every time I had a chance. He set back statehood by a decade every time he was reelected. And I met him a couple of times, too. I have great photographs of me with Marion Barry. But when he was busted by the FBI at a hotel downtown Washington, D.C., I remember it well. People always leave out, he says, the GDB set me up. The GD, and then the B is a bad word for a woman, set me up. And her name was Rashida Moore. And she was an attractive woman that he had known in the past. And the FBI flew her in from California to lure Marion Barry, then mayor of Washington, D.C., to a hotel in downtown Washington. And the FBI had wired the room with lots of cameras, you may remember, Ross. And they had cameras in the light switches and the electrical outlets. And that's not even my favorite line from him, but I can't say the favorite line because it's too dirty. But he followed her around the room, Marion Barry did. He wanted to have sexual relations with her, to borrow a phrase from Bill Clinton. And he wanted to have sex with Rashida Moore. And she invited him to the hotel room, but only because the FBI was threatening to put her in prison unless she cooperated in snaring Marion Barry. And he went and sat on the couch next to her, and she got up and went over and sat on the dresser. And he very casually got up and went and leaned on the dresser with her. And she went over and sat on the edge of the bed, and he went and sat on the edge of the bed. And she got up to walk away again. She knows she's on camera and everything. And he said, beep. All the men, you beep. The first word was an S word. The last word was an F word. He said, beep, all the men, you beep. And because he's like, what, leaving me out in the cold here? Don't you know who I am? I'm Marion Barry. You know, come on, for the love of. Yeah, and that was a good one. That was a great moment. Now with Trayon White, now, and of course Marion Barry did go to prison for the crack cocaine offense. It was FBI crack cocaine, government crack cocaine, and the government, the FBI did bring in this woman Rashida Moore to set him up, and she did set him up. So in that particular instance, Ross, everything that Marion Barry said was true.
Well, you know, maybe for once we had a politician who was being honest. I don't think this is going to happen again, so I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, probably good policy. Probably a good call on your part, Ross. Yeah, good fun. And also, Ross, he went to prison, and then he was let out of prison after doing his time. And then he was elected to the city council. And in fact, I think it might have been Trayon White's seat that Marion Barry occupied after he got out of prison, and he became a city council member after being the mayor. That's a demotion. Probably doesn't pay as much. But I think that Marion Barry became the city councilman for Ward 8, which is where, isn't that correct, right? Which is where Trayon White is now the city councilman. Yeah.
All he needs to do now is give free turkeys away at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, which Marion Barry did too, and people really like their free turkeys. I always got a big kick out of Marion Barry. I met Marion Barry. I had a beer with Marion Barry in Georgetown one time. Not as good as Hunter Biden, who bragged, of course, that he smoked crack with Marion Barry in Georgetown.
Marion Barry, you know what? I actually smoked crack with Marion Barry. I swear to God. Jesus.
They all curse a lot. That's the thing. That's actual audio, Ross, of Hunter Biden bragging about smoking crack with Marion Barry. Not the same night that Rashida Moore set him up.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, what a world. And have you noticed, Ross, they're all Democrats. They're all Democrats.
Absolutely.
Just amazing. And they keep getting reelected again and again. That's because of the news media, the dirty, rotten, filthy news media. Ross, thanks for the call. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. You're a Democrat party. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. What's this article? I hadn't even seen this article. Trayon White, a Marion Barry protege, faces his own moment of reckoning, the Washington Post is reporting. I did not know that he had been a protege of Marion Barry, but of course it makes perfect sense. What could make more sense than that? Also, another fun photo from Chicago, near the Democrat convention out on the street, a woman who must be 85. Got to be 85 years old and probably 85 pounds, too. Maybe 75 pounds. And she's wearing a little Mexican peasant shirt. And she's out on the street. She's wearing a baseball cap that says abortion forever. Abortion. She's smiling. Looks like a very pleasant 85-year-old woman with a baseball cap that says abortion forever. She's wearing a Mexican peasant shirt, but she's clearly, wouldn't you say, a white European American. Got the Chicago River behind her there and a bridge. Beautiful city of Chicago when you clear all the Democrats out. Abortion forever. Lady. They really love abortion. I don't think they like people. And vasectomies. I don't think they like children. It's quite possible. Also, you see what's going on with retired people in America. These numbers are quite disturbing. Retired people, senior citizens who have retired in Joe Biden's economy. I've got some startling and alarming news for you on that front. Now, I just want to do this real quick, but Caring.com survey found that 1 in 3 senior citizens who are retired are making the decision to unretire and return to work after retiring. 1 in 3. And 53% of the people that are unretiring, senior citizens, are citing inflation as the reason that they can't afford to stay retired. Also, Bloomberg News reporting today the expectation of losing one's job right now in the Biden-Harris economy is at a record high. A New York Fed survey. A record number of Americans believe that they are on the brink of losing their jobs. Now, let's go to the Jew haters in Chicago. Let's go to my friend Ray Stevens. Let's go to number 21. My friend Ray Stevens, who is the morning guy on WLS in Chicago, talking about what kind of condition Chicago is in.
You're looking at a population in Illinois that's the lowest since 1920. Think about that for a second. Students at an 8th grade proficiency, 21% of the students in Chicago can read at a 8th grade proficiency level, do math at that level. This is the plan. This is how it works. This is what happens in J.B. Pritzker's Progressive Illinois. The plan that we have nationwide is it's untenable, and it won't work. And I think it's laughable that this is all going to change on day one, when day one was over 1,400 days ago for Kamala.
Ray Stevens' morning show, WLS, Monday through Friday. And every Wednesday morning, I do a hit with him on this. Now, let's go to what was happening yesterday outside of the Democratic Convention with their pro-Hamas mob.
Genocide Joe, Killer Kamala, Baby Killer Blinken, and hundreds of other war criminals are here in Chicago to celebrate themselves.
They're war criminals, you see. That's what they are. And he's pro-Hamas. And then Fox News interviewed a man on the street who is from the Middle East.
You support Hamas?
Every Palestinian support Hamas, not just me. Every Palestinian support Hamas.
Do you support October 7th?
Who?
October 7th.
October 7th? Yes, I do. What's wrong with October 7th? You tell me.
Women and children.
What?
To murder.
What is this bull?
What is this? That is no women and children were killed. He's a Palestinian man. He's a grown man. He's a big man. Mike Tobin of the Fox News channel talking to him on the street there. He supports October 7th. This is today's Democrat Party. Know what you're getting into.